Look at the price of gas now! It's $7.55 a gallon! Hey Putin, we're sending you a bill!
What's up, guys? Short time of prepping here. Now, really quick, before we start this video talking about Army enlistments being down, I want to go and let you guys know that the Gog and Magog video part 3 is already out. Gog and Magog 4 was in the process of being made this afternoon, but I had to kind of can it. And of course, that video is going to be about the actual U.S. perspective and what exactly it means about the whole false confidence thing. I'm going to kind of explain that one right there because it's mostly focused on the United States and whether we're a declining power or not. I'm pretty sure most of you guys know that, and of course that there's a perfect segue into why U.S. Army enlistments are down. Now, I got this right from the Gateway Pundit, and the Gateway Pundit's not an article outlet that I use very, very often, but I did catch this on a couple of other outlets. One of them was American Military News, another was USN News. I caught this on several sites, and of course, I got to tell you right now that I believe it. I believe it 100%, and I'll even tell you right now why the actual enlistments are down. There are actually multiple reasons, but there are three main ones I want to focus on. Number one, the Gen Z millennial is not exactly the same as the Reagan baby. Now, guys, there's this great confusion about Reagan babies, Gen Xers, and millennials. I was born in 1985. Yeah, I'm exposing my age, and most of the guys that I served with were born between 83 and 86. Some guys, of course, were even born, of course, the senior NCOs, they were born like in the 1970s. And a lot of people believe that Gen X is an actual generation that began from 1965 to 1979. I'm here to tell you right now that I don't believe that that's entirely accurate. I would say it was closer to 1966 to 1988, and here's my reason why. There's an 8-year period in the millennial period where we're known as the Reagan babies, where we were exposed to a lot more television violence and things. And by the way, I'll be doing a grand video on generational gaps as far as veterans is concerned at a later date. But there's like a nice 8-year gap period, like I said, we're called the Reagan babies. We grew up on action movies, Schwarzenegger, Stallone, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that they're kind of helped fuel a few of the reasons why we were so quick to fire back on things, because it was much more stylized. But don't worry, we'll do that at a later date. But the Gen Z millennial is not exactly motivated to actually fight a war. It's also one of the least in shape people, one of the least in shape generations we have. We have damn near a 50% obesity rate in the country, and quite frankly, a lot of kids, a lot of young men are lazy nowadays, and they don't want to actually go to war or fight. They don't even want to go work out or play a friggin' sport. So this does not surprise me. Number two, the working class guys who you think would want to join the military, they don't want to join the military under Joe Biden because, let's face it, the guy's a goof and he's not trustworthy. He's trying to get us involved in a war with Russia right now, even by his inaction. And of course, his statements saying things like Putin needs to be removed from power, stuff like that. Nobody trusts him. Also, something else too, and this is the biggest reason: the wokeness push. You guys remember the ad, the whole Emma Malone Lord, I've got two mommies ad. You guys remember that?
Begins in California, with a little girl raised by two moms. Marched for equality. I like to think I've been defending freedom from an early age.
Yes, I think when males, especially men, especially when they see an ad like that right there, they kind of think to themselves that, I don't know, man. Yeah, maybe it's just not what it used to be. Maybe it's not what it was when my uncle was in. Maybe it's not what it was when my father or my grandfather is. Maybe it's not what it was when my OIF cousin was in. Maybe it's not what it was when my Vietnam veteran grand uncle. I think you guys are kind of picking up on what I'm saying. Army enlistments are down for those reasons right there. Those are the main three reasons. Wokeness, of course. The fact that we've got an idiot in charge that nobody trusts. We don't have a real leader. And number three, the Gen Z millennial as a whole just isn't very patriotic. That right there is the main reason why we're in this situation. Now, there is a movement amongst Gen Z millennials that is becoming a little bit more to the right, which, by the way, we'll discuss that maybe in other videos, which more than likely will be on my main channel, which, by the way, I'll leave a link to in the comment section of this video here. So I highly advise you guys go check out John Claymore. But these are the reasons why the enlistments are down. Now, how to fix this, and of course, that right there will be another video at a later date. But let me go ahead and throw this one out here, and I'm going to end the video on this note right here. Okay, in one of my videos, I talked about allowing guys who got out of the military recently to go right back in. Well, see, the reason why I'm okay with that is, and I'm more than okay with that, is because, number one, they're already trained to fight. Okay, if you put a bunch of draftees in the military, you're going to have all kinds of problems. No experience, you got to rush their training. Of course, you're basically plucking them. They don't want to go. They're not motivated to be there. Of course, most guys, you know, when they enlist, once they go through boot camp, or once they get to boot camp, they don't want to be there anymore. But they at least feel an obligation to their country to get through it. They feel an obligation to the stuff that they're about to go through. It's a challenge. They want to at least get through it and actually serve. And some guys actually like it. Some guys dislike it. But I'm pretty sure that most of the guys, I know this because I serve myself, just about everybody who serves in the military is patriotic, okay? And most of them do care about the country, or else they never would have signed a contract to go. But the thing is this right here, this is the thing you got to pay attention to. Would a draft actually help this country out? I mean, drafting all these millennials, all these Gen Z millennials, I'm not so sure it's going to do us any good. If anything, having a volunteer force is much, much better. But as I said before, and of course I didn't really touch on it, I'm going to touch on it now. That's where I'm going to end the video. This is one of the reasons why I am okay. I am more than okay with guys who've been out of the military being allowed to go back in. Now, of course, there should be height, weight standards. Of course, you got to meet certain requirements to get back in. But number one, they've already been trained. Number two, chances are with this economy the way it is, we're about to go through another recession and possibly a crash where there's not going to be any jobs. Okay, when we put those sanctions on Russia, their economy immediately got worse. Then, of course, it picked back up. But due to all the cancel culture, you created Russian nationalism. Vladimir Putin's enlistments are going up, and it's not going to be the conscripts that he's got in Ukraine fighting that war. It's going to be actual active duty personnel. We need to do the exact same thing here, but the problem is that right now we don't have that spark. I am pretty sure we're going to be getting that spark here real soon, and I think it's going to be our economy crashing. Nothing happens overnight, guys. And no, I'm not wanting the economy to crash. There's a reason why it's a prepping channel. I'm just kind of prepping you guys for what's to come. When the economy crashes, you'll probably see military enlistments go up, especially amongst working class guys. Which, by the way, it's kind of sad to a certain extent that nobody else wants to kind of sort of join us in this entire endeavor because we're the only ones who are actually willing to fight for the country. This is one of the reasons why I'm a little bit concerned that a draft just may not help. It may hurt us more than it actually helps in the future because a lot of these Gen Z millennials are not wanting to go. But if this economy crashes, expect military enlistments to go up because if you ain't got a job, you got to eat. If you're below the age of 25, you may be inclined to join the military, and of course it pushes you further and further and further. And by God, if something happens to the country, yes. And we've already had this discussion before where it was like 50% of Democrats, 50% of Democrat voters said that they would not fight for this country. However, you may see a shift in that here in the next few years, which, by the way, we'll be doing more videos on later on in the future. Guys, short time of prepping. I just figured I'd throw this video out. I just want to go ahead and kind of talk about this issue. If you guys like this content, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later.
In other words, it's a huge shit sandwich, and we're all gonna have to take a bite.
Sir, does this mean that Aunt Margaret's not coming?